Hi, my name is Bossan Abdyyeva and I'm doing a mini field work from anthropology class. Before that, I want to tell you that I'm not gonna put your name, so you can feel free to answer to all of my questions and just answer however you really want and take your time all the time. Um, Before becoming a YouTuber, I mean, like, you are a YouTuber and there are YouTube fans.
Mhm.
I call them YouTubers too. But were you? Oh, wow. Is it a personalized one?
Yeah, and
That's
then
so cool.
it's part of the merchandise that I do. That's a big part of kind of establishing a brand. If you're going to try to pursue it further as like a full-on job, that's like a lot of where money comes in from, is like merchandising and stuff.
Sweet.
There's there's a bunch of shirts and hoodies and cups and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And this is yours, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, this is me.
Cool. So, yeah, before becoming a YouTuber, like, you were a fan of YouTubers, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And I want to start from the beginning. And can you tell me about how would you describe yourself, like, as a YouTuber? What kind of characteristics do you have? And
Well, a lot of what I do now is that I kind of try to circle around family-friendly content. Growing up in my house, I have a lot of siblings, and we would always watch YouTube together. And so when I started doing YouTube, that's when I started to want to make videos that my little brother could watch. And so I play like a lot of games, and I make like little plays. We call them sketches, where like it's myself as different characters talking to each other. And I do music. I do when I travel, I record that. I try to hit a broad range of things when I make videos, but what I would say characteristic-wise, I tend to try and be very upbeat, very happy, very positive. And I try to make people laugh. That is kind of the basis of what I try and do on YouTube.
okay, here I have a question. I interviewed one girl before you, and she said, "I'm watching the YouTube because I want to be happy."
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly. Like, especially in today's world, I feel like it's very easy to be caught up in all the negative things. And so when I make a video and I put it out onto the internet, and I make a video and I upload it to YouTube, I want to impact someone and just make their day better.
Sweet. In a day, how many hours or minutes do you spend on YouTube? Like,
Oh, on YouTube or like creating for YouTube?
I don't know, on YouTube, creating YouTube, using YouTube.
It's a very big part of my life. Like I would have to predict maybe it ranges anywhere from 4 to 8. Because while I watch a lot of YouTube, there's also a lot of time that goes into making a video, whether it's like writing a script or it's recording the gameplay or it's editing. That really takes a lot of time.
Sweet. Okay. How did you enter to the YouTubers, kind of, in the beginning? Was someone who was like, "Dalen, you should watch this," or you're like, "Oh, I want to watch YouTube"? How it turned out?
Yeah, it was a combination of a few things. What really made me want to start doing YouTube was, first off, I had a friend, and he's still a very good friend to me to this day, and he still goes to college here. He started uploading videos to YouTube, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And so I wanted to start doing that too. But on top of that, I had been watching YouTube for so long, and this was right after we had just gotten the internet in our house for the first time. And so I was on YouTube all the time, and I saw just how much fun these guys had when they made videos. And so I wanted to do that too. And so I started doing that. Like, it started off as just doing like really, really dumb gameplay with like a really slow computer, and it wasn't a lot of fun to watch, but it was so insane seeing what I put out on the internet. Like, that is for anyone to see. And so around a year after I started it, I kind of started over with this new idea, which was making sketches, doing music, better games and stuff like that. And that's really when it started to take off.
Would you call it that YouTube change your decisions? Like you want to do something, but then you watch it and then you get influenced and you change your mind.
Oh, for sure. It's a very big thing when you create something that those around you kind of influence the decision. And so like if you start watching one particular kind of thing on YouTube, you can say, oh, I want to do something like that. But then you see somebody else on YouTube do it completely different. And so that influences what you try and do when you make that video. For example, every time I start a project, I try to, I have this idea, but I will also watch how other people did the idea, and then I can kind of branch off from there and kind of make something that in the long run is a lot better than what I started with.
Oh, good. Are you subscribing any kind of channels or?
Oh yeah, I go pretty subscriber crazy because I understand like the impact of just what one subscriber can do to somebody. So there's a lot of big people that I subscribe to, and there's a lot of small people that I subscribe to. Like there's obviously the main powerhouses on YouTube, you know, like there's PewDiePie, Markiplier, etc. And I really enjoy their content, and so I'm subscribed to them. But it's also really interesting to see the smaller creators. For example, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. There was like this one kid who, for an April Fool's prank, I took all of the videos down off of my channel and I just replaced it with like really crummy gameplay, you know, like as a joke, like, oh, this is what the channel's really about. And this one kid actually really liked it. And so he was very confused when the next day and all those videos are back and he was very confused. But like subscribing to him, that one kid, I'm sure made his entire year. And it's just such a small thing that has such a big impact on people. And it really warms my heart.
Okay. Which channel is your favorite channel? Like...
Oh man, that is very difficult. I'd have to say right now, it is a tie between Casey Neistat and Markiplier. And it's because they do such different things. Like Markiplier focuses very heavily on the same things that I try to, you know, making people laugh and trying to take them away from the darkness of the world and just give them a second to just laugh and not have to worry about anything. Whereas Casey, he is very film-centric. Seeing how he edits videos and the stories he talks about is incredibly inspirational because I like to do that kind of thing. You know, I like to make short films, and so seeing how he does it and his approach, it's so unique that you just get drawn into this world that you can't with anyone else.
Cool. You know, you say like you want to make people happy, change their mood, but you know, I realized that you have a lot of videos there. First I thought like there are 3 or 4, then I found out 250. How do you get ideas? Like,
well, the ideas come from different places. For example, I used to have this series where the commenters, the subscribers, would give me ideas as to what to do, and they would like ask me questions and stuff like that. And so I would get ideas from there. And then I also get ideas from, as we talked about before, like watching videos, you know, like you see, oh, I want to do something like that. And then there's this other aspect of like contests. It's a lot bigger of a thing than I thought it would be, but every time I see a contest, it like challenges me to, okay, how can I make something incredibly different? Like I've entered the iHeart NWC contest. I entered a contest back my sophomore year to make like a fun game trailer for a video game and stuff like that. And it's just really cool to see how can I, as a creator, make something different that I would want to watch? Like what makes me laugh? And then I write that down, and that's how I get ideas for videos.
How would you react to the negative comments?
You know, you do get a lot of negative comments, and the thing about it is like you have to be able to separate the constructive criticism from the people who just want to tear you down. The constructive criticism you really have to step back and look at because they're saying, hey, I don't like this, here's a way that you could make it better. And you have to go, okay, yeah, I completely understand. But at the same time, I have gotten comments where it's just people just degrading me for no reason. And there isn't much you can do about that, whether it's because they're like super young or maybe they're just in a bad time in their life. You can either ignore it or, you know, you can go the route of like deleting comments and stuff like that. But I don't really see the point in that. if you think that what you're doing is good and you're proud of it, then the negative comments don't really matter. It's just a byproduct of everyone else being happy that there's this one person that seems to not be happy.
Then I can conclude that you are proud of yourself that you're a YouTuber.
I'm very proud, yes.
And how do you think about the time you're spending? Because you are a college student and you're spending a lot of time on YouTube. Can you handle your school? Like, can you manage your time?
School always comes first. There's a lot of times where I have to try and take a break from YouTube so I can focus on studying. For example, finals are coming around, and so I'd either like pre-record videos so I can disperse them like every so often so people can keep watching them, or I can take a break because I don't want to rush something and make it not as good as it can be. I try to do about 2 videos a week sometimes. It's been cut back down to 1 recently, but it's really just thinking what is more important. Obviously school is more important, but at the same time, I'm in a very unique situation because YouTube is kind of helping me with college. Like, I want to be a film major. I like to do videos as a job, and so it kind of goes hand in hand.
But most of the time, like, I would say, like, I was reading about YouTubers and I was interviewing, and they say, like, they're extrovert. Because of that, they became addicted to YouTube.
Oh yeah, addiction to YouTube is a very big thing.
Is it like, are you introvert or extrovert?
Me? Oh, I'm very extroverted. I love talking to random strangers out on the street. It's very easy to make friends because I just put myself out there. And so I think being extroverted kind of helps with that. But like, YouTube also gives introverts a place to be, like they feel like they belong in this community where you don't have to go out and talk to people because the world can be scary, but you can also still talk to all of these people that have this one person in common. Like, they all like watching this one person.
Wow. I love your answers. They are like straightforward.
Thank you.
Your brother was your motivation to create a YouTube channel, and your friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. How do you think YouTube fans are choosing the channels, or how you choose the channel, your favorite one? How do you search for them?
A lot of the times they search for like key terms of something they're looking for. Like, if you want to watch someone play a video game, you might look up that video game and then watch this person play it, and then you find out that you really like this person's personality when they play the video games, and so you'll check out their channel. Or there's also collaborations. If there's a YouTuber that you like watching a lot, and then someone else comes and works with them, and you really like that person that they brought on, you like what they added to the table, then you might go over to their channel and check out some of the stuff that they've done, and then they might have collaborated with other people, and so on and so on.
Have you ever been judged by others saying like, oh, YouTube?
No, for sure. All throughout high school, I was actually really embarrassed for a very long time that I did YouTube. Not embarrassed enough to stop, but I was so embarrassed that I didn't tell people in my high school that I did it. Some people figured it out, but they didn't really care too much. I was really embarrassed. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Were you judged?
Yeah. I was judged quite a bit in high school. Not so much in college. That's why I like college. People are a lot more understanding here of what you like to do. But at a younger age, I was judged pretty harshly.
How about your family? How does your family feel about it? Because you spend a lot of time with YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Well, now my family supports me because, they're seeing what I'm doing is successful and they really like the videos that I'm putting out. But for a while, they were really scared. And this happens a lot with families where they get scared because you start putting out like more of yourself onto the internet, and that can be really scary. It's like, don't give away too much information. Like, up until this year, I went by a different name on YouTube. Like, I did not use my real name on the internet anywhere. And so kind of branching out of that because you want your real life and YouTube to kind of stay away because you can get like those creepy people that try and track you down where you live, and it's really scary. But yeah, I definitely think that doing that was a good way to earn my family's trust when it came to that, because it showed that I know what I'm doing. I'm not giving away my personal information. I'm just putting stuff out to entertain people.
I see. When you just started the YouTube channel, how were you in like advertising it? How were you telling to people? You started a bit early, I guess.
Yeah, I started YouTube in my freshman year of high school, and throughout that whole year, I did a lot of gaming that was not very fun to watch, and so basically I privated all the videos. Like they're still available to watch because I like to see where I started versus where I am now, versus like quality and how I talk to camera and stuff like that. But it really started my sophomore year when I started making sketches. And that's when it really hit me that what I'm doing, I'm proud of. And so that's when I started telling people about it. Like, hey, I spent a lot of time on this video. You should really go check it out. So whether it's like telling people in my school, or I told members of my family, and then they would like share the video on Facebook and stuff like that. That's really one way to get it out there. But additionally, the college has this very nice aspect in the photo department where if someone needs something video-wise, they go and talk to the photo department. And so NWC essentially advertises you for the clients to say, hey, what about this person? Like, this is the stuff they've done. Would you be interested in that? And then on top of that, you can always like go around town hanging up flyers or stuff like that. But you tend to want to go cheaper when you first start out.
Oh, I see. I saw the video about the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Were you recording it yourself?
Yes, that was me. I filmed and edited it. That took many, many, many hours of editing. That one was perhaps like my most ambitious one yet. It was my first real job as a videographer, which is like my dream job, you know, like that's why I like doing YouTube, is I love making videos like that. And so the fact that someone wanted me to do that for them and to like pay me for it was insane. And you know, there's just many hours of editing, and you really start to see the smiles when like you send the video to the wife and she emails you back saying, oh, I'm in tears, that was beautiful. Like it's really fulfilling.
I loved it actually.
Thank you, I'm glad.
I was asking the other YouTube fans too, but if you had a chance to meet your favorite YouTuber, and it would that person is coming to Wyoming, to Powell, and you can meet with him or with her face to face, but the ticket costs like $500. Would you spend that much money?
Oh, without a doubt, of course. I think it's very important that you get the opportunities that you can, especially if it's meeting like your favorite celebrity or your favorite YouTuber. Like growing up, money was a very big issue for me, and so like that really held me back from doing a lot of things. But when you do things like fundraising and you actually get to go to these things, like in 5th grade I had the opportunity to go to college for a week for like this program, but it was about $600, and we didn't have that kind of money growing up, and so we fundraised and I ended up being able to go. And it's then that you realize that these kind of experiences are worth the money, because like they're once in a lifetime. Like you'll never get that experience again. So of course I would hands down spend that money.
If I challenge it to the $1,000.
I definitely think so. Like if it's in a reasonable price, I think so, because as I said, it's like once in a lifetime, you know, you're not going to get that opportunity again. Like it's that's an insanely amazing memory to have.
What would be 2 questions you would ask from your favorite channel, like YouTuber?
Oh, wow. Well, that's a good question. I would probably say, like, my first question would be, how do you keep going? Because while I do love what I do, a lot of the times I will get burnt out. Like, I have all of these ideas in my head, but my body just physically does not want to do it. And so when I see people who post these videos every single day, it amazes me, because they're always the same high energy. They're always super happy. And I know a lot of it can be an on-camera thing, but like you can really see that in their personality, in their faces even. Like there's been a lot of times where I'll record a video and I can feel like I'm doing high energy, but I watch it back and you can just tell in my face that I don't want to do it. And so I think like, how do you keep up with that? And then 2 is like, I would really ask about their finances, because you can make quite a bit of money doing this if you play your cards right. So how do you manage your money? Like, what do you put it into, kind of thing, I think would be really interesting.
Oh, cool. Um, you are posting a lot of videos, and like some of them become like very popular because they like it, and some of them are not very popular. Like, how do you handle it, and how do you change it, or do you keep it that way? How what do you do?
I think that when I post a video, I kind of have an idea of how it's going to do, and sometimes it like exceeds my expectations by a long run. Like when I posted the video of me donating my hair, I knew that video was going to be somewhat big because I put a lot of time and heart into that. It really meant a lot to me that people hear my story and see what I've done, and hopefully they could do the same thing because it's such a good cause. But at the same time, there are other videos where I think they're going to do amazingly well and they do horrible. Like I would do something and I'm like, oh, this is amazing, I've done so much time and effort, the same things, but it just doesn't take off quite as much. And it really makes me sit back and I go back to that constructive criticism. Like, are there comments that say how I could have done this better? Did YouTube do something where like they suppressed the video? Is it something I said? And I really start to take that into account. So if it does well, I tend not to change it. And if it doesn't do well, but I still feel that it could do something, I will either not change it and try again with a different concept, or I will change it and I'll keep the idea kind of the same and compare the two. Like, okay, this one was the original where I did this and it didn't do well, and then I changed this aspect of it and it did incredibly well. And so I'll take that and I'll really implement that into future ideas.
Who's helping you? Because once I saw like you are recording yourself in your room. That's alright. I think it's computer or something, but there was a video where you bought a new camera, I guess, and I really liked it because it was so funny. And who was helping you to record it, or?
That video in particular was all me. A lot of my videos I do by myself. I am the cast, the crew. The only thing that I really don't do by myself a lot of the time is the music. I do music by myself, but there are so many better resources out there to get music. But usually when it comes to filming, I have a lot of tripods and I'll set it up and I film myself, I edit it myself, and it's usually just a one-man crew.
One of the last questions, how did YouTube change your life? Like, helped you maybe?
Okay, so this is a very good question. YouTube changed my life in a lot of ways, and a lot of them have been very positive. So first off, just watching YouTube really helped me understand that there are more people like me in the world. Growing up in a small town in Wyoming, you don't get a lot of me's. Like, growing up in high school, I was not considered very cool, I guess you could say. Like, I was very under the radar, and so I felt like a loser, like I didn't matter. And so when I started watching YouTube and I started seeing all these other upbeat, high energy, silly people, it made me feel better because I realized that I wasn't alone in the world. And I think that's what a lot of people, especially in today's world, understand, is that the internet is home to so many different kinds of people and you are not alone. But secondly, on top of just watching YouTube, and having that become more of a part of my life, recording YouTube and putting my content out into the world has introduced me to some of the most amazing friends that I would not have known otherwise. I mentioned the friend that got me into YouTube. Making videos with him really strengthened our relationship in a way that I don't think anything else could. Like, there's something so surreal about working with somebody and putting a lot of time and effort into making people laugh of all ages and then putting it out onto the internet. It feels so crazy because you wouldn't think that you would be as close as you are just because of that. But I've also met people from across the country, from across the world because of YouTube, and seeing how they work with their ideas and the videos they produce and just how different they are, but how similar we as people can be, is so insane. And it feels so crazy because I know without YouTube, without this platform, there is no way that would have been possible. And I still probably would feel alone and like I didn't matter. YouTube really opened the door to me as far as being creative.
Oh, That's amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much.
No problem.
It was awesome.